Another short video talking about tactics for demons as allies, and gonna hit Fateweaver. This is a Lord of Change model, but Fateweaver is sort of an upgrade to the Lords of Change. He's close to the most expensive single demon model you can get for the entire game. So if you decide to use him as an ally, you really want to think, alright, how does he fit into my army? Is he going to do enough to offset 333 points plus the minimum of one troop unit you're going to take with him? So what is Fateweaver? The Oracle of Tzeentch. He is a sort of upgrade to a Lord of Change. The actual model will have two heads. Okay, so for 333 points, he actually has lower stat lines for almost everything than the standard Lord of Change. And interesting, if you play Demons, and he's the only HQ that has a leadership 9, so he ends up not being your warlord if there's any other HQ unit around. But just covering his stats, he's not as good as a standard Lord of Change, so you might ask yourself, why would I take him? And the reason is he's got a ton of special abilities, and he can boost armies fairly significantly. And this is what he's got, just basic. He's a monstrous creature, and he's flying. He's got Soul Devourer, which means essentially a force weapon. And it's strength 5, but 10 if he smashes. He's got Demonic Flight, which means he's a flying monstrous creature. He has Mastery of Sorcery, which lets him shoot 3 shooting attacks per round. He has Weir Legion, which lets him pick different targets for each of his shooting attacks, if he so wishes. He has Breath of Chaos, which is the poisoned glances vehicles on a 4+ AP 1 or 2, doesn't really matter, ignores armor. Template, he has Demonic Gaze, which is the 3 shots, and then he has Boon of Mutation, which turns a single target model into a Chaos Spawn if they fail a toughness test. And you get to pick the model. It's not closest one, it's anyone within range, even if they're in combat. So you can use this to pick off warlords, for example. He has Bolt of Tzeentch, which is the strength 8 AP 1 shot. And with the ballistic skill of 5, he's pretty likely to hit. He's a demon, and then he has this special rule called Oracle of Eternity, and that's the one thing that he has that boosts other armies. And that's, if you're going to take Fateweaver, and I think in 6th edition, Fateweaver certainly isn't popular for the list he used to be in, which was sort of the Blood Crusher Fateweaver list. So, Oracle of Eternity, any friendly unit, and you could ask, what is friendly? I mean, is it going to include desperate allies, or even allies of convenience? And that could be up to you and the person you're gaming with, because it's really undefined. Any friendly unit within 6 inches, and this is unit, not model, may reroll failed armor and vulnerable and cover saves, and that includes the Fateweaver. However, every unsaved wound suffered by Fateweaver, he'll take a leadership test, and if he fails it, he runs away and is immediately lost as a casualty. So, how does Fateweaver work? If you're playing an army that you can take him as allies, and you can get him on the board, then you put him somewhere near units that you really want to make saves. So, I don't know if he's useful for things like Obliterators, because really they have a 2-up save. But maybe some of your other units that are slightly more squishy, having Fateweaver there means that they're much more likely to stay around. He's great for combat units if you can stay near them. The downside is Fateweaver only has to take 1 wound and fail it. Now, he has a 3-up invulnerable save, but he only has to fail once, and then he's got a leadership 9, so if he fails that one wound, he's potentially gone. So, in combat, he can go pretty quick. If he gets shot by tons of even bolter fire, it's potential to make Fateweaver disappear in 1 round with 1 wound. So he's a little less powerful in terms of staying power than some of the other demons. And his boost, the 6-inch spread all around him to other units works best with obviously with Blood Brothers, Chaos Space Marines. It works really well with Imperial Guard. Beyond that, because the Desperate Ally rule is going to give you the one eye open, so any unit within 6 inches of a Desperate Ally might do nothing. I'm not sure he really helps his Desperate Allies, because, yeah, you can make Tau, re-roll their saves, or Dark Eldar re-roll their saves, but 6 inches, which means those units have a pretty good chance of doing nothing every round they're near Fateweaver. So Fateweaver, he's actually my least favorite demon for an ally. That gives you any sort of boost. I mean, there's plenty of ones that just suck, but he's probably the least favorite, though I think there's some really good uses for him. I'm not really sure that he's worth the 333 points plus the troop choice you're going to have to take minimum to field him. So, that's his ability, re-rolling all your saves of any kind. Downside, he's going to, have to be pretty close to the guys who are going to do it, so they may suffer one eye open, and you have to really think, are the units that need to re-roll saves that I have on the board, or am I putting 333 points into a extremely powerful character, but it's a character nonetheless that can go away on one hit